Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week of my weekly rotation fragrances. Stay tuned to find out about these fragrances. I have some great ones on the list as per usual this week. Keep it locked. What is good, YouTube? Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mikeycologne, and if you're tuned in, as always people, thank you very much for doing so. It does mean a hell of a lot. Thank you for your support. That is right, today I'm going to be talking about 7 fragrances. Some of these are inexpensive, but to me they all smell great. Listen, I'm going to put it out there, and I've said it before. I don't care if a fragrance costs £20, £100, £300, it doesn't matter. If the fragrance smells nice to me and I think it's worth talking about, I am going to talk about it. But Monday come and I wanted my iris fix, or Oris, however you want to pronounce it, and I went with this fragrance from the house of Laboratorio Alphativo, and it is called Nimble. This is a great fragrance. This has been around since 2010. I haven't had it since 2010, but that is when it was first released. If you like powdery, airy fragrances, you need to get yourself a sample of this. Let me just show you. The cap is a snug fit, but it doesn't click into place. Solid metal cap that you got a little logo on top. And there is your bottle. Let me just spray this. This does smell very, very nice. Nice atomizer. Right, you got carrot, violet leaf, iris, amber, sweet notes, white cedar. Right, the note breakdown I found for this fragrance, there was a little bit of difference. Like, one note breakdown didn't have the sweet notes and it had dame accord. Then I found another note breakdown that said ambergris in it. So to me, I'm going to stick with the one that I found, because these notes are what I can pick out. So that is why I'm sticking with it. Right, it opens up, the carrot up top, this opens with a fresh blast, and there is no citrus listed in the note breakdown, but it opens up fresh, ever so slightly zingy, and I think that's the carrot mixing in with the violet, because this does have a airy nature to it. It does have a little bit of a sweetness to it. So it opens fresh, a little bit zingy, then it turns powdery, airy, the iris comes in, and that iris mixed in with the violet is what's making this fragrance so powdery, because it is a very powdery fragrance. But once you get into the mid, this fragrance still stays powdery. The powdery nature calms down, but it starts turning a little creamy. The white cedar is there. To me, I wouldn't know it was cedar. To me, it just comes across as a woodsy nuance that really starts showing its face in the mid. And like I said, the sweet notes, this fragrance does have a sweet side to it. But I don't know if it's the dame accord or the sweet notes. So I'm just going to say it has a sweet side. Also, what I do get from this fragrance is a little bit of a vegetal sort of undertone. Once that opening does calm down and you get sort of into the mid and it starts going into the dry down, I do get an ever so slight vegetal undertone, and I think that is the carrot. So the carrot sort of plays, it comes across in a few different ways in this fragrance, but overall this is a stunning scent. If you're worried about powdery fragrances, I know some of them can come across smelling old-fashioned, old lady-ish like, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but sometimes a powdery fragrance can come across smelling sort of oldish. This doesn't smell dated. Yeah, it's powdery, but it also smells modern. Like, this is unisex, leaning feminine. There's no doubt about that. But I rock it, and I've never had a negative compliment from this fragrance. I've never had nobody turn around and say, what are you wearing? You smell, that stinks, nothing. I've had a few compliments, and they have been good compliments. But yeah, Monday, I went with Nimble from the House of Laboratorio Alphativo. I love this fragrance. Great scent. Tuesday, I reached for this fragrance because it's been a while since I've worn it. This has been around since 1997. It is Lalique Pour Homme Eau de Parfum. This is a great, timeless fragrance. Very masculine. There's no doubt about that. The cap feels so cheap. I mean, this is an inexpensive fragrance, but the cap feels so cheap. It's just me nitpicking, really. But let me spray this bad boy. This has loads of notes in it, so I'm only going to read some. Right, you've got grapefruit, mandarin, orange, bergamot, lavender, rosemary, cedar, iris, jasmine, oak moss, sandalwood, vanilla, patchouli, amber. And like I say, there is other notes. This opens, you get this blast of aromatics when this opens up. The citrus is there. The aromatics you get straight away. Once the opening sort of calms down a little bit, that woodsy nuance starts coming in. So now it's fresh, spicy, woodsy, aromatic, a little bit of a citric blast up top. To me, this is kind of old schoolish with a new school twist, kind of fougere-ish. It's just got that sort of masculine vibe about it, that this is a fragrance to wear when you want to mean business. If you go into a board meeting, or you wear a suit and tie to work and you have an important meeting of the day, or you're going out for lunch and it's something to do with work, rock this fragrance because it just has that classy edge to it and it smells great. This has, once you get into the dry down, this has an earthy side to it. It really does. The patchouli adds a little bit of sweetness, but also adds a little bit of an earthy touch. The oak moss has a helping hand in that earthy side of things. But overall, it is a great smelling fragrance. To me, this is an all year round scent. And you can pick this up, I think, for £30 or £40 in the UK. This is the 125 ml bottle. I get 5 to 6 hours longevity with it. That is enough. You don't need any more than that with this type of fragrance. Masculine or masculinity in a bottle, this is. Yeah, it's great. And I rocked that Tuesday. Hadn't worn it in a while. Sprayed it on and I thought, man, this still smells so good. And that is Lalique Pour Homme Eau de Parfum. Wednesday, it was warming up in England and I rocked this fragrance from the House of Lattafa. It is called Maia Legacy. This is a banger. And for what you can pick this fragrance up for, man, it is worth the coin and some. This is a solid, weighty cap. I love the way this smells. This is inspired by a version of Sedley by Perfumes de Marly. I mean, the scent profile is very, very close. The atomizers are not bad, but the juice that it gives out, man, this thing smells good. Right, you've got lime, mint, lavender, grapefruit, pineapple, juniper berries, pepper, geranium, ambroxan, oak moss, vetiver, cashmeran, tonka bean. You get the lavender, you get the mint, you get the lime. So this opens up super fresh, almost cooling. Like that mint and that lime work so well together. It just gives this refreshing, cooling effect to the fragrance. The grapefruit is there, adding an ever so slight bit of rindiness. Once that sort of citrus opening calms down a little bit, the pineapple, it adds this fruity touch and it blends in so well with the citruses. Like the citruses are the dominant player with the mint and the lavender up top. But that pineapple does add a nice little touch to the fragrance. This is aromatic, it's woodsy. As you get sort of through the mid and you start getting into the dry down, that is when the vetiver, the cashmerean and the oak moss, to me, sort of ground this fragrance, because this opens up playful, lively, vibrant, and I would say a little bit youthful, but as it starts drying down, it turns ever so slightly a little bit more mature. And like I say, them notes to me ground this fragrance. They're not rough or nothing comes across earthy, so to speak. Like the oak moss, the vetiver, the cashmere, and they're clean, but they just add a bit of maturity to the fragrance. And that is one of the things that I love about this. It is still a pleasant, I wouldn't say youthful, because I think if you're in your late teens or even in your 40s that you can rock this fragrance. It's just near on the same profile as Sedley, and I would class that fragrance as teens all the way until your 40s. Even in your 50s you can rock this fragrance. Age is just a number. This scent is fantastic, and for what you can pick this up for, it is great. And for a freshie, this thing lasts. Sometimes I get 7 hours, sometimes I've got an 8 hours, sometimes I've gotten just over 8 hours with it. So the longevity is great, the projection is great, you leave a great scent trail with this fragrance. If you're looking for an inexpensive, cheapy fragrance that is fresh, try Mahir Legacy from the House of Lattafa. Solid fragrance, and that is what I rocked. Thursday, I had to rock an Aaron Terence Shoes fragrance. The weather was a little bit dingy again. It's been a funny week this week. It's been hot, it's been cold, it's been raining, but it was a little bit dingy Thursday, and I needed something with a little bit of oomph. So I went with Daddy from the House of Aaron Terence Shoes. What a fragrance this is. If you haven't tried this yet, get yourself some of this fragrance. This has got oud in it, 5% oud. Right, let me just spray it and then I'll read you some of the notes. This is a great scent, it really is. This is a stunner. Right, it's Extract de Parfum. It's got 5% oud. You've got apple, bergamot, tonka bean, nutmeg, smooth oud, sandalwood, patchouli, vanilla, benzoin, ethical ambergris, and clean skin accord. This opens juicy, fresh. You get the apple, you get the bergamot. They're like neck and neck together up top. A little bit of a juicy sort of fruity nuance with the fresh bergamot. It's got a playful sweetness to this fragrance. Like when it opens up, it is a little bit playful because of the apple and the bergamot. After a minute or so, the oud starts creeping in. It's lurking in the back. And as this fragrance dries down more and more on my skin, that oud comes out more and more. Dries down more, the oud comes out more. The oud is not smelly, skanky, barnyardy. It just adds this richness, this depth, this oomph to the fragrance. And it just, it smells really good. And it says smooth oud. It is a smooth oud. The tonka bean adds a little bit of an almondy quality. The nutmeg adds a soft bit of spice. You got the vanilla. Everything adds warmth, sweetness. This is, it is a great fragrance. It really is. To me, this is a cooler weather fragrance. Like, I don't think I'd necessarily wear this if it's a super hot day. Yes, it opens up fresh, juicy, and a little bit playful, but I don't think I would wear this on a hot day. If it was a cooler evening in the summer, you can rock this, or spring or during the winter, fair enough. But in high heat, I would not rock Daddy. This just smells, if you're watching this and you own Daddy or you've tried it, you know that it is a stunning fragrance. And if you haven't, just order yourself a 10 ml and wear it for a little bit. And I guarantee as soon as you smell it, you're going to be thinking, yep, the way that apple and the bergamot mixes in with the oud, and you've got the benzoin, everything, the patchouli in this gives it this little sort of chocolate cakey nuance as it starts drying down. Stunning fragrance. So Thursday, yeah, I wore Daddy from the House of Aaron Terence Shoes. I do love this scent. A lot of his fragrances, there's not one that I dislike, but this is one of the loves for me. It really is. And that is Daddy. Friday I rocked Halloween Man Mystery. I done a quick update review on this the other day, explaining what fragrance this reminded me of, or what fragrances it reminded me of, in the same vein of. So if you want to check that out, go back through my content and you will see it. So I'm only going to speak about it quickly, but we'll get to it. Right, let me just spray it. Great atomizers on these bottles. They give out loads of juice. You got black pepper, lavender, mandarin, hazelnut, Egyptian geranium, cosmo fruit molecules, patchouli extract, and concentrated vetiver. This opens fresh, citric, semi-sweet, a little bit aromatic, and then after a couple of minutes this woodsy nuance comes in and it opens fresh, spicy. Once the fragrance starts getting into the mid, that cosmo fruit molecule comes through, and this fragrance, you can pick up an ever so slight fruity nuance in the opening, but once you get into the mid, it's near on at the forefront. And that is when I can detect the patchouli, which sort of gives off this slight earthy nature, but pushes some sweetness into the fragrance. And then that vetiver in this, it is clean, but that gives that, it has a helping hand in the woodsy side of things. And then it goes from being fresh sweet up top. And then once you start getting into the mid, this warmth comes through, and then it's warm spicy, and that sort of fresh spicy side is dissipated and it turns warm spicy. It is a very nice, pleasing scent. It is worth the money what you can pick this up for. I'm not an actual lover of it because I own something that smells similar to this, or this smells similar to something that I own. Watch the review and there you will see what I'm getting at. But Friday I rocked this. Pleasant fragrance. It is an inexpensive scent, and it does smell, it will get compliments, there is no doubt about it. It's just I wasn't wowed by it, and I'm not wowed by it, but I wore it and I'm going to continue to wear it. This is a fragrance that I will wear, even though that I'm not a lover of it. I will wear it. If you're new into the fragrance game and you don't hardly own any fragrances, this would be perfect for you, because it does have a very nice scent. And one thing before I forget, that lavender stays on my skin through the life of the fragrance. It's there from the get-go and it's there in the late dry down. Anyway, Friday was Halloween Man Mystery. Nice fragrance. Saturday, it was pissing it down most of the day. Didn't really do much, but I was looking at my Xerjoff Naxos fragrance and I thought, it's been a while since I've worn you. And then I looked at my Dua collection and I've got a clone of that. So I thought, I'm not going to waste the OG. So I wore Fortune from the house of Dua. Dua is a house that does inspired by fragrances or clones, whatever you want to call them. And this is their interpretation of Naxos by the house of Xerjoff. And this is so close. Like I say, I own this and Naxos, and I've done side-by-side comparisons. This is so close to the real thing. It's crazy. And I rocked this Saturday. You only need a few sprays of this. Dua's concentration is extract de parfum, which is obviously a higher oil concentration. Let me just spray this. Right, you've got Calabrian bergamot, lavender, Sicilian lemon, honey, cinnamon, jasmine sambac, cashmeran, tobacco leaf, tonka bean and vanilla. This, you get that lemon, you get the bergamot, but everything is dripping in honey. Everything, this is a sweet, warm fragrance. It does open up with a bit of freshness because you get the bergamot and you get the lemon. But everything's just sweetened by honey. The tobacco is smooth. The vanilla is smooth. The tonka bean adds this ever so slight, I can't put my finger on it. It adds sweetness. But I get this herbal touch from this fragrance. And I don't know if that's the tonka bean mixing in with all the other notes. I just don't know. But I do get an herbal nuance from this fragrance, like in the dry down. But everything's just sweet, warm, and it is addictive. Oh, the cinnamon adds a soft bit of spice in there. Imagine honey with all them notes. The honey's at the top. And it is just oozing and dripping all over the bergamot, the lemon, the cinnamon, the tobacco, the vanilla. That is how this fragrance comes off. Stunner. If you own Naxos by Xerjoff and you haven't tried this, give this a spin. I think you can pick these up for about £40–45. These are 30ml bottles. And like I say, look, they are extract de parfum. So higher oil concentration. But anyway, Saturday, rocked fortune from the house of Dua. Let's put that right. Sunday come about. So Saturday was miserable. Sunday was hot. Go figure. It was sort of cloudy in the morning, then it started heating up. And I rocked this fragrance. And man, this thing, if you're looking for a good citrus or a great citrus fragrance, Citrus Paradisi from the house of, I'm going to try and pronounce it, you ready? Pharmacia SS Anacita. What a stunner this is. This is a simple fragrance. This isn't complex, and that isn't a dig, because this smells fantastic. Let me spray this. Look at the artwork on these bottles. They look stunning on a shelf. The atomizers are great, and the juice is, yeah, it's good. Look at the cap. Look. Right, you've got pink grapefruit, lemon, fig leaf, cardamom, magnolia, cassis, musk, cedarwood, and druicord. You get this bitter, rindy grapefruit up top, plus you have the lemon. So it is zesty, it is bright, it is very citric, and like I say, it is a little bit pulpy and bitter. After a couple of minutes, the florals, that magnolia and the fig, to me, smooth the edges of the citrus so it doesn't become too sharp. Starts out bitey, after a couple of minutes, the edges are smoothed out by this floral nuance. And it isn't, when I say floral, don't think that I mean feminine, because it isn't. To me, this is a unisex fragrance, but there's nothing to me that screams out feminine in this fragrance. Then the fragrance dries down a little bit more, a little bit of an aromatic side comes through. I do get an ever so slight green nuance. This does have a woodsy undertone. So it's a citrus, aromatic, woodsy fragrance with green touches. And man, it smells fantastic. Seriously, if you haven't tried this fragrance, this brand so far is a solid house. And I hear hardly nobody speaking about this brand. It deserves some hype. This fragrance, especially for hotter days, will do you justice. And it done me a great turn on Sunday. And this thing, for a freshie, I get 7 hours out of it. And for a freshie, that is more than enough. So yeah, Sunday, I wore Citrus Paradisi. I'm not going to try and pronounce the house again because I'm going to butcher it. Right, people, that is my weekly rotation review. 7 great fragrances. 1, not so bad. Friday, Halloween Man Mystery. I mean, I'm not being hard on it. It's just not a wow for me. It's a pleasant fragrance. I do like it. I will wear it. It's just not a wow for me. But anyway, people, let me know which ones you've tried on this list. Let me know which fragrances you have tried from this brand. I want to hear your thoughts, people. Remember, smelling good's always a pleasure and never a chore. And I will see you lot on the next one. Cheers.